Hello, folks, and welcome back to twitch.tv/games with Nick. Today, we are continuing our playthrough of 999. 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 dwarves. In the first part, we learned that we were kidnapped by a madman that forced us to swallow bombs that are currently in our intestines, and we are forced to play this crazy game where we have to go through doors. We have like numbers at our wrists, and we can only go through doors with people whose numbers match the number of the door. And then when we're inside the door, we have to try and find an escape room. And somebody already tried to game the game and force us to open a door for him, and he immediately got murdered by the bomb that was hidden inside of him. So that's how things are going. So now we have to choose. Do we want to go down door 4 or door 5?
All right then. It seems we've reached a conclusion. Shall we go?
He began to walk toward door 5.
I'm going through door 5.
Clover and Snake followed, with 7 a short distance behind.
We're over there too, right, Snake?
The door's not going anywhere. Slow down.
Which door?
I want to go down door 5.
Hey, wait.
So ultimately, we're going to have to kind of play through each of these scenarios to get all possible endings which are required to get to the true ending. But I have a personal reason why I want to go down door 5 instead. Oh, Junpei's cry could have crossed the room. The 4 people walking toward the door stopped and went back to work.
I want to go through door 5 too.
The words were scarcely out of his mouth when June spoke up.
What? What are you saying, Jumpy? If you're going through that door, then I'm going with you.
He turned around to look at
No,
her.
you can't. I can't take you with me.
Why?
Well, you know what's in there, don't you? Are you sure you want to see that?
Well,
June opened her mouth as if to say something, but instead closed it again and looked at the floor. Junpei felt an ache in his chest at a clear distress, but the choice was not his to make. There was nothing else he could do. Junpei turned away from June, doing his best to silence his turbulent emotions.
Please, let me go into door 5.
Seven scratched his head and looked at the young man.
Man, now we're right back where we started. You know that?
Junpei's bracelet is number 5, right? If we are going to add Junpei, then we must subtract 5 from the rest of us.
Snake turned to Ace.
Ace, please, take good care of Clover.
Oh, all right. That's fine.
1 plus 4 equals 5.
don't go away.
You need to listen to me, Clover. Go to door 4 with the others.
No!
Don't be so selfish.
Snake's tone was harsh.
Why?
They were brother and sister because he missed the first part, which you should check out. It's not live on YouTube. Tears welled up in Clover's eyes. She bit her lip and did her best to fight them off. Snake's expression softened as he put her arms around Clover. He held her close and whispered in her ear.
You'll be fine. Just relax.
It looked as though he whispered 2 or 3 more words, but whatever they were, Junpei didn't hear them.
What did he tell her?
You couldn't help but wonder what the other man had said. Snake pulled back from his sister, his eyes kind of inquiring.
Okay, I understand.
Her voice was barely audible from where Junpei stood. Before long, new teams were assembled.
Let's make sure we've got this straight. Those going to door 5 are me, 7, and Snake. 7 plus 2 plus 5 equals 14. And the digital root of 14, 1 plus 4, is 5. And those going to door 4 are Lotus, Santa, June, Ace, and Clover. 8 plus 3 plus 6 plus 1 plus 4 is 22. And the digital root of 22 is 2 plus 2, 4. We're okay with this?
No problems here.
Yes. Let's do it. All right then.
7, Snake, and Junpei scanned their number bracelets in quick succession. The screen under red showed 3 asterisks.
The lever's all that's left. Okay. Alright then. Let's go.
Junpei glanced around one last time, his hand resting on the lever of the red.
Okay. Please be careful.
Concern was written plainly across her face.
We will.
Junpei looked her in the eye and gave what he hoped was a reassuring nod. He pulled the lever. With the sharp clack of a lock releasing the door swung. With the sharp clack of a lock releasing, the door swung open.
And it's open.
Ahead of them, in a small hallway, were the pitiful remains of the 9th man.
Oh,
That's messed up.
that was the 9th man.
For a moment, Junpei froze. For as he might, his eyes would not leave the corpse, and his feet would not leave the floor. 7, too, seemed paralyzed. Snake, on the other hand, seemed unconcerned. He walked calmly down the bloody hallway, and only stopped when he realized his companions were not following.
Oh,
How can you...
Well, do you intend to kill me? I assume you haven't forgotten the door only remains open for 9 seconds, have you?
Which is longer than all of this happening, technically, but he didn't even bother to turn around. His head was, at most, steadily cocked towards one shoulder.
sorry.
Let's go!
Junpei and 7 looked at one another, nodded, and threw themselves through the door. How's it going, Sticks? Pretty good. As they did, a cold tone sounded from the left wrist of all 3 men. 7 and Junpei looked down at their bracelets. On both of them, and on Sneak's, a red skull had flickered to life.
Damn it! The countdown started!
They had scarcely processed this information when... With a metallic slam, the numbered door behind them swung shut.
Shit, the door!
There's no turning back now, and if we don't manage to find the deactivation device...
Hey, where is the dead?
The fear and urgency in Seven's face reflected what all 3 of them felt.
How the hell should I know?
Stay calm. Look around you.
Okay, I get it.
Junpei spun around, searching desperately for the dead.
Ah!
He found it easily enough. It was on the wall next to the closed door labeled 5.
Found it! Right here!
As he yelled, he struck the scanner with his hand. The other 2 scrambled to follow suit. As soon as they finished, Snake threw the lever down.
Whew. Well, it looks like it stopped.
As he spoke, Junpei wiped the sweat from his forehead with a trembling hand.
Goddamn thing's gonna give me a heart attack.
A muscle stood out in Seven's neck and the corner of his mouth were twitching.
Jumpy, are you alright? Are you guys okay?
They could hear anxious voices, muffled but distinct, from the other side of the door.
Yeah, we're fine.
The detonators have been deactivated.
They heard relieved sighs, and even through the door, the 3 men could feel the tension disperse.
Alright, we're moving on. Be careful, okay?
Okay. Sure thing.
And they're gone.
They heard footsteps moving away, and before long they were alone again.
Now.
Junpei looked around.
Doesn't look like we can go any further this way.
The hallway ended roughly 20 or 30 feet from where they stood.
Maybe this wall can be moved. Or not. It's not budging.
Hey, there's a door over there.
To the left, however, was a wooden door that looked positively inviting by comparison. In the middle of it was a plaque that read, First Class.
A first-class cabin, huh?
Well, it seems like it.
Let's have a look then, shall we? All right then, let's go.
Yeah.
Without hesitation, Snake opened the door and stepped inside. Seven followed closely behind him. Junpei moved to follow them as well, but
Oh.
he stopped just short of the threshold and looked back, not knowing why.
I don't want to look, but...
Lying in a small hallway was a man's body, or at least what was left of it. He tried hard to avoid looking at the grisly scene, but just wouldn't leave. his mind.
Oh, it's so horrible. I can't even tell what's what.
What had once been a man's internal organs now looked like so much vomit, as though something had chewed up and spit out the better part of his torso. It was hideous, but worse still, it was cruel. It was hard to believe the thing on the floor had once been human. The black pool of thick blood, the lumps of glistening flesh spread across the floor, the awkward, twisted tangle of shredded intestines, the head, wrenched to some grotesque and natural position.
He'd been wearing these.
The man's glasses lay next to his head. The lenses were cracked and the frame bent and distorted. And next to the glasses lay a bracelet. Number 9 still displayed on its face.
The bracelet's off. Oh wait, Zero did say.
Lastly, let us discuss how to remove the bracelets. There are only 2 ways to do so. 1. You escape from this ship. 2. More likely, which is Zero. In other words, once the bracelet is taken outside the confines of the ship, or the paralytic Mary's heartbeat has fallen to 0, it will shut down automatically.
The bracelet comes off when you're dead. Oh, but what the hell's the point of getting it off when you end up like this? Oh, just imagining how it must have happened. This was a human.
Suddenly, Junpei felt his stomach convulse, and a knot of muscle gripped his throat.
Oh god. Oh, I feel like I'm gonna puke. Oh, I gotta get out of here.
He clapped his hands over his mouth and ran to the first-class cabin. The atmosphere changed immediately. The room was gorgeous, and despite the apparent age of the ship, none were the worse for the wear.
Huh. Where did they...
He looked around. Seven and Snake were nowhere to be seen. There were 2 doors on the right side of the room. He opened the one on his right and went through.
Through here?
On the other side of the door was a short hallway. He jumped down the hallway, opened the door at the other end, and peeked through. There they were, to his right, busy examining something.
What's up?
Stepped through the door and walked toward them.
Check this out. We found this thing here on the door.
The red light's on. Does that mean it's locked?
So I would assume.
Is there any other way out?
We looked around a little. Other than this door, we didn't find anything.
So you're telling me that unless we can open this door?
Yes. We won't be going anywhere.
Junpei stepped away from the door and looked around the room.
This looks like a bedroom.
Then the other room is probably a living room. Or the closest you can get to one on a ship.
All right, let's find a way to open this door. Come on, guys.
Alright, so this series is a hybrid visual novel / escape room. A bed with a canopy. I've seen things like this in movies and stuff, but never in real life. True, you don't see too many these days. I can see the detail, obviously, but I imagine it's one of those princess beds Clover is so fond of. Clover wants one of these? Yes. She wants a princess bed. Didn't I say that? You think it doesn't suit her? Yeah, I guess you could say that. Ah, Junpei. Judge her by appearances, will you? And well, you should not. Now, Okay, we got a score plate. It took Junpei by surprise. Snake, usually so calm and collected, suddenly began to move. Stared about the room frantically, clearly looking for something. No, Junpei thought, not staring. After all, he's blind. Blind or not, Snake was clearly attempting to do something. At last, Junpei could no longer contain his curiosity.
What's wrong? You got weird all of a sudden.
Snake waited a moment before answering.
I heard something strange.
Something strange?
Ah, well, never mind. It doesn't seem to be anything suspicious. I don't wish to toot my own horn, but my auditory senses are considerably more advanced than those of most humans.
He's Daredevil.
I notice even the slightest of noises.
Right. Are you gonna tell me you can hear a needle drop from a mile away?
No, such a thing would be impossible. However, by listening to the sound of footsteps and breathing, as well as sound echoing off the environment, I can locate most objects.
Oh yeah, that's right. When Clover fell on the big staircase a little while ago, you were at her side immediately. So that was...
Yes, I could hear it happening. In fact, I can run quite fast. Certainly as fast as you. And should someone attempt to start a fight with me, I am quite confident that I could defeat them.
Oh, really?
That's very anime logic, but sure. Junpei was somewhat taken aback by this revelation. He stared at Snake skeptical.
You don't believe me, do you? Care to give it a try? I must warn you, you'll no doubt regret it. Well, I suppose that's enough playing around. Let's resume our search, shall we?
With a small, self-satisfied smile, Snake turned and walked away from Junpei. That was a weird intermission. The white desk. Feels kinda fancy. Under score plate. The safe is locked. It's one of those dial locks. It doesn't have a key. We just need to get dials in the right place and it'll open. Did you find anything, Seven? Nope. How about you, Snake? I also find nothing. A leather suitcase. There's nothing inside. I can tell by the weight and it makes no noise when shaken. It's a leather suitcase. Unfortunately, there's nothing inside. What's this? This isn't a score. Is this a map of the ship? A map? There's a map of the ship here? Yeah. Then I imagine it will prove it very helpful. You best hold on to it, Junpei. Okay. Map screen. This is just doing the story section. The music stand. Well, might as well put this glass plate on it. Oh, something wrong? It's kind of hard to see the notes. Maybe if I put something under them? Background for the notes. It's totally a table with a mirror. Ah, yes, you know, that sort of thing known as vanity. Were you aware of that, Junpei? Of course, vanity also refers to self-love, conceit, and narcissism. As such, you can say that every day when a woman looks into one of these, she's staring at her own conceit and narcissism. Doesn't that strike you as terribly sad? Thinking about this thing too much, Snake Man. Bathtub is full of water. Is there actually something in this water? It looks kinda gray. Just pull the plug. No, hold on. Maybe we can, I don't know, use it for something? Use it for something? Yeah, I know exactly what. It's a heavy piece of paper that's been folded in half. It says SCORE printed on the front of it. Score. It's gonna be a musical score. If that's true, then the score we just found was probably in here. At least at some point. There's an iron grate in front of the fireplace. There's something behind it. I get it. You're gonna use this vase, right? That's pretty clever, Junpei. We just gotta fill this thing with water. Score plate. Actually, is there something? Probably nothing, but... This is a suitcase made of leather in the color of rich mahogany. Well, shoot. Looks like there's nothing in it. Okay, bathroom. Vase. Bathtub's full of gross, cloudy water. Alright, shouldn't be too hard to fill this vase up. It's a toilet. Doesn't seem to be anything in the toilet or the tank. There's some toilet paper on the wall there. Nothing that looks suspicious. Alright, time to put this fire out. How about time, buddy? Let's do it. Here we go. Ah, good job. Another success. The fire didn't stand a chance. Alright, I'll just pull this out now. Didn't want to get burned, so let's pull it down his sleeves. Let's should pretend to play into his pocket.
Oh.
Tim cried out and stumbled, his balance lost. Threw out a hand and caught the wall in time to steady himself and avoid the floor, but his face was flushed and he looked startled.
Hey, Seven, what the hell was that? Are you alright?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm fine. I just felt a little dizzy, that's all.
Seven rubbed a couple fingers across his brow and then shook his head as if to clear it.
What the hell is wrong with me? There's memory loss, now I'm getting dizzy for no reason.
Memory loss?
Junpei could have had a surprise in his voice. Seven, for his part, seemed unconcerned.
Oh, yeah, I guess I didn't tell you, huh? I told the rest of them before we ran into you on the stairs. I told them I couldn't remember a damn thing from before I woke up. Didn't realize I hadn't told you.
Whoa, wait a minute. You're talking about amnesia, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, why are you an amnesiac? What happened to you?
If I knew that, I wouldn't really be one, would I?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true.
Junpei paused for a moment and stared at Seven.
Are you telling the truth?
Huh?
Well, you look pretty calm for somebody who doesn't remember anything. If you've really got amnesia, shouldn't you be, like, upset or confused or something?
Well, sure. I mean, I was pretty confused when I woke up down on D-Deck. But that was a while ago. I've had some time to get used to it. After a while, I figured it wasn't worth the trouble of worrying about it. After all, why worry about something I can't change? Well, people usually don't stay amnesiacs forever. I figure it'll work itself out eventually.
But that's it?
That's it.
I mean, what are we gonna do? You don't know this man, you don't know where he's
All
from.
right, that's enough talking for now. Let's get back to work.
How could you improve his amnesia, really? Seven gave Junpei a look the younger man was unsure how to interpret and turned to walk away.
How are you fine with something like that?
Somehow, though, Junpei didn't find his reassurances very reassuring. Put some sort of antique desk. Makes sense though, I guess. This whole room's full of antiques. You could get a nice handful of cash for all this stuff in here. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else. The music stand. Might as well put the music I found on it. I'll put the ceramic plate on the bottom, and the glass plate song too. Wait a minute. What's wrong? I'll put them all on top of each other, but they look odd. It doesn't really look like a song. Didn't know likelihood we haven't found them all. We need to find more glass plates. That's a problem. It's a small round chair. It looks like it probably goes to the vanity. It's a white desk. Snake scrubbing it. This is a high quality desk. Teak, or perhaps mahogany. Wow, how can you tell? Oh, I have my ways. Oh, right. Huh? This faucet is really hard to turn. Man, it doesn't matter how hard I yank on it, this thing won't budge. Hey, hard for you to turn, kid? How about you let a man give it a shot? Damn, nothing. Might as well be a damn rock. It looks like something holding the knob in place. Well, if you can do it, Seven, I guess you might as well give up. Now what I want to do is... There's a plug on the end of this chain. Alright, why don't we just drain this water? Yeah, good plan. Alright, where's that thing? A good tug out would be enough to get it out. Huh? Okay, we got everything now. Alright, good. Sweet, now I can play the music. Junpei, would you be so kind as to play the piano? I'm unable to, you see. I'm sure I needn't tell you, but the keys on this piano are not what you might expect them to be. C1 be C, D1 be D, and so forth. You must listen carefully to determine which keys to strike. You understand? Yeah. Alright, let's give this a shot. Oh god. Alright, so... And we're done. Music is on my forte. Wait, what was that noise? Junpei, we did it! Looks like it worked. I heard something unlock over by the exit. Let's go. Good plan. Stand! Bow! Be seated! Well, I guess he hasn't forgotten that. At least Snake thinks it's funny. Yeah, I suppose that was the glass from Bell, wasn't it? I don't imagine that's what Zero was thinking of, however. No, Zero almost meant to suggest Westminster, not middle school. Westminster? The palace in London that plays host these days to the House of Parliament. You've heard of Big Ben, the famous clock tower, yes? Big Ben plays that very collection of notes on the hour. London. London, baby! Capital of England, huh? At any rate, the door is now unlocked. Let's leave this place immediately. Alright, let's go. We found it. He came out of the door and into a long straight hallway.
Another hallway?
Pause for a moment and turn around to look behind him.
That should do it.
Seven was bent over, apparently doing something to the door.
What's he up to?
Junpei had spoke more or less to himself, but apparently Seven had heard anyway. The larger man stood up and turned to Junpei.
I was just putting one of those plates in there. It ought to keep the door from locking again. Now we can come back here anytime we want, right?
Ah, why would you want to come back here?
That was a reasonable one. Seven thought about it for a moment before he answered.
I might like to play a little piano.
Piano?
Come on, let's get moving. We aren't out of this yet.
Without waiting for an answer, Seven started off down the hallway.
Well then?
Snake shrugged, sighed, and quietly followed Seven. That's a lie, Junpei thought to himself.
Can't say I could ever imagine Seven playing the piano. He couldn't use the piano in there anyway. The keyboard's a mess. But why would he want to leave the door unlocked then? I have no clue.
There's a safe we haven't opened yet.
Hey, wait for me!
Junpei frowned, took one last look at the door, and walked away towards his companion. After some time in the hallway, they emerged onto a larger, more open area.
Whoa, a metal grate?
The large metal grate, like the door of a jail, divided it in half.
Why is this thing...
They shook it for a while, but as they had expected, it did not move.
Figures.
Are those elevators over there?
No way to know if they're working or not from here.
Oh, there's a door just to the left of this grate.
Unfortunately, however, it was locked and refused to open.
Sounds like it's locked.
Yep.
Junpei took a moment to examine the left side of the room.
Stairs leading down.
They're blocked by the grate, though.
But this here seems accessible.
So we can open it?
Nah, I think it's locked too. Look.
In the center of the door was a small keyhole. Next to the keyhole, a small symbol had been carved into the metal.
What's this mark? The female symbol.
He wasn't quite sure what to make of it. Snake naturally was somewhat more sure.
Ah, The Venus symbol, I imagine. Do you recall the similar symbols near the large central stairway? They reference many of the solar bodies.
Oh, that's right. The Sun, Saturn, and Earth.
So, as you can see, that one is likely.
Not the woman symbol, but a Venus symbol.
So I assume.
Hold on. Where's 7?
While they'd been discussing the symbols, Junpei now realized 7 had slipped away. His absence now felt. Snake and Junpei turned to look for their missing
there he
companion.
is, down that hallway.
7 had left them to head down the hallway, extending to the right of the stairs.
This way, Snake. Follow me.
Junpei grabbed Snake to lead him in the right direction, and they both headed off after 7. Before long, the 3 of them stood in front of the door.
I wonder if this door will...
It was a French door.
How about that? It opens.
Junpei tested the door and realized that, unlike so many others that encountered, it was unlocked. Almost as though he was afraid it would suddenly lock itself, Junpei threw the door open. He stepped inside.
Oh, wow.
Only a moment for Junpei to take in his new surroundings.
Is this some kind of casino?
Sure looks like one.
Before Junpei could come in further, a noise from behind made him turn around. Snake was shaking the door that just come through.
Well, this is troubling.
As 7 and Junpei watched, he threw up his hands in frustration and then kicked the door for good measure.
It seems we are once again locked in.
There was no reason to panic, however.
Even if that door was open, it's not like we had anywhere to go that way.
So we must find another exit then.
Alright guys, let's split up and search this room. Come on, no dawdling, let's go! Quickly!
Spurred to action by 7's words, Junpei and Snake beginning to examine the room. Card. There's something on the counter. Looks like a card. A playing card. A playing card. Whoa, will you look at that? Someone left a bottle of booze here. Don't mind if I do. Look. Look. Ah. Oh, that hits the spot. Feels like my throat's burning. Damn, you're really drinking. We don't even know how long it's been here. Wait, when those 2 lights turned on, I heard something from the bottom of the fireplace. What was that? I heard something down there. There's something on top of the fireplace. So we're looking at clubs, diamonds, and hearts. Get some coins. Wow, this place is like super amazing. What's this place for? Probably for playing Baccarat. Looks a little off though. Yeah, look at the middle of the table. There's something mounted on it, see? Suddenly, 7 began to speak.
Ah, Baccarat. You ever played Junpei?
Junpei shook his head. He'd barely even heard of the game.
No, never.
Alright then, how about I explain the rules to you a bit? See, Baccarat is kind of an unusual game. You've got the banker and the player. The whole point is that you guess which one's gonna win. And whether the banker or the player wins, it all depends on their hands. The way each hand works is different from other games too. You see, you take the number from the ones place after you add up the value of all your cards. Whoever gets the number closest to 9 wins. If your number is smaller than your opponent's, you lose. And that's it. That's the explanation. Got it? Well, actually, there's a lot more to it. Strategy, details, that sort of stuff. But what I just told you sums up the core of the game pretty well. The single digit of the sum of all the cards you have. The strongest hand is a 9, and the weakest hand is a 0. You just ignore the number in the 10 spot. Do you get it?
Yeah.
He hadn't been asked for it, but Seven's explanation, rash though it had been, was helpful.
Well, maybe half of it. Enough. I got a chance at winning the game if I played now.
However, we have no way of knowing if the puzzle in the Baccarat table makes use of those rules, and if it does, in what manner.
Then I guess we try everything.
Feeling more confident flowing slightly, Junpei approached the Baccarat table. Hey Seven, are we really supposed to play Baccarat? Baccarat table, what the hell else would we do? Stop worrying about it. It's real simple. What's your opponent's hand? Well, there's an 8 in that glass case. Alright, then that's your opponent's number. If that's the case, what 3 cards do we need to get to that number? 3 cards? There are a couple of indentations with white lines around them, right? Doesn't mean we gotta put down 3 cards. So, place 3 cards here and defeat the opponent's 8. That's what I've gotta do, I guess. Yeah, I think so. Something tells me those aren't the only rules. Alright, let's give it a shot. Before I start, I better make sure I've got the rules straight. 3 empty indentations, so I just gotta pick a card and play it, blah blah blah. Okay, let's give it a try. So, we need a 19. Or we need a 9 with 3 cards. We really can do it. Right now, 18 is our highest hand. I think it's not gonna be happy about it, but... Oh, tie is good. Alright, if I just put down these 3 cards... Yes, open for me. Great! You did it, Junpei. You think it's best to take the 8 card? Come on, let's grab it. Alright, let's take this card. So we do have coins, right? Alright, let's put the coins from the bag in here. What happened? I heard an odd noise. Well, to be honest, I don't know. I pressed some of the buttons and smacked the machine once or twice, but nothing happened. Oh. Looks like the coin got stuck. Oh dear. It's a drawer they used to pick up money. It's locked tight. I can't get it open. Alright, let's drop this coin in the coin slot. Come on, you little bastards, I only need one of you. 1, 2, 3. 777. Yes, 777. And I think I hear something unlocking in there. Impressive, Junpei. It would appear to be unlocked now. There's something akin to a drawer in the bottom part of this machine. Yes, there's a pickup drawer for the dividend. Probably the lock for the drawer got unlocked. Please open it if you would. What's it? There's something in there? Yeah, a playing card. And this. A key with a Venus symbol on it. Excellent, Junpei! Then we'll be able to open the gate. Then we just need to figure out how to get out of this room. Correct. Come on, Junpei, hurry up. And he's off. There was a playing card and a Venus key. Better put the key in my pocket for later. As for the card... So the 3 symbols we tapped were the ones in the order shown by the lines. That's how we solved that puzzle. Alright. Guess we should check out that stained glass. How beautiful. What? Huh? Stained glass is colored pieces of glass placed together in a frame. As I said many times before, I need only touch it to know. I can at least discern the basic structure. There are 4 chairs surrounding the square table. That square table. It looks like a mahjong table. You play mahjong, 7? Maybe. I don't remember exactly, but I do remember a couple hands and some of the rules. I figured I must have played it at some point. Excellent. Once we've vacated this vessel, I should like to play a game with you. Can you, play? As long as you tell me which tiles I'm eliminating, yes, I believe I have at least enough skill to defeat an amateur. However, I must ask you to remove the red tiles when we play. Here's the card slot. Looks like we need to put a plain card in here. Alright, let's give it a shot. Clearly ace and 8. Opens to 9. And then you go. Hey, alright, it opened up. Gives you another device to contend with. Yes. There are 3 slots in this one. Let's see, 3 slots for cards, and there's a 9 right below them. So the problem means we gotta make 9 with the 3 cards we put in the slots, right? Just like what we did over on the background table. Alright, let's give it a shot. I mean, I only have 3 cards, so... easy enough. Alright, so I put them all the cards we had left in the slots. What happens now? Is that... Yes! I did hear something from the exit. Excellent work, Junpei. Wonderful. It seems the exit is unlocked. Let's go. Alright, let's go. Junpei and his companions ran out of the casino and into a large open room. A room, in fact, that they had been in once before. There was little to surprise them there. They already knew what their next step had to be.
This way.
The iron gates still stood in place, locked tight, blocking the stairway, and right in the center of it.
The keyhole with the Venus symbol. The Venus key should work here.
Wasting no time, he pulled it out and shoved it into the keyhole. He turned it. With a distinctive sound of metal on metal, he felt the lock click open.
It sounds like it did. Alright, let's get this thing open.
No problem. Let me help with this one.
Junpei grabbed the handle on the left side and Seven took the handle on the right. On Junpei's signal, they both pushed, and the gate creaked open.
It sounds as though you have opened it. We should be able to reach C deck now, I imagine.
Snake, are you gonna be alright? I mean, the stairs.
Please, do not do yourself the embarrassment of underestimating me. I would be unlikely to trip even if I were running backwards.
Very
Good to
anime.
hear. Let's move.
At Seven's words, they leapt onto the stairs and dropped quickly down them. In no time at all, they found themselves on C deck.
Everything looks okay here.
We should check the next deck down, just in case.
When he reached the water, he called back up to Snake and Seven.
Just what I thought. D-deck is completely underwater.
Just like the bottom of the central staircase.
Surface of the water below them was flat like a mirror.
I'm just glad the water level hasn't changed much.
Back to the C deck then.
Now, how about we check out what's here?
They began searching around and taking stock of what was on C deck.
There are 2 elevators over there, which means it's probably the same upstairs.
There's a card reader between them. And another weird mark.
Hey, check it out. It's the symbol for Lotus.
What?
See? It's got the woman symbol, and then it's got the devil horns, right?
Oh,
Yeah, I see it. No 2 ways about it. That was a pretty good one, kid.
Seven tousled Junpei's hair in what Blackman thought to be a friendly manner. Junpei feared his neck might break, even though it was clear Seven had kept his strength in check.
Oh, would you watch it, man? Whew, that hurts. You're gonna break my neck.
What are you talking about? The human body ain't that weak. Maybe this'll toughen you up, huh?
If we were looking for a devil, we've got one right here.
Thankfully, Snake interrupted. After Junpei's observation, he'd gone over to examine the card reader.
This is a Mercury symbol. The marks you mistook for horns are a stylized version of the wings and staff of Hermes.
Wings and a staff. Huh. So then, she beats you with the staff until you die and go to heaven. Sounds like Lotus, all right.
Whoa, Seven is really here for you, Lotus bashing, huh? Seven shook Junpei's head even more vigorously. The younger man began to feel as though his brain was being jostled about inside his skull.
7. Oh, that's too much. Oh, my head.
Junpei's stomach began churning uncomfortably.
Oh, I think I'm gonna puke.
Unless we can activate this device, I doubt the elevator will function.
In other words, we gotta find a key card with a Mercury symbol on it.
So I would assume.
Let's forget the elevators for right now. How about that hallway to the left?
Whoa, there's a bunch of doors.
There were a great many doors lining both sides of the hallway. It seemed to stretch on forever, and all three men suddenly felt very small.
Ah, shit. We're not gonna have enough time to check all these, are we?
Maybe we can come back here later. We should check out the other side. Let's head back.
To the right of the stairs, another hallway stretched out, reaching deep into the bowels of the ship.
To the right this time.
After a few moments of moving briskly down the hallway, they emerged into an area roughly the same size and shape as the one at the top of the stairs. On the left side of the room were 4 French doors.
There are doors here too. Well, I guess it's just 4 this time.
Let's open them up, starting with the closest one there.
Okay, I'm on it.
Junpei nodded and grabbed the one closest to him. He gave it a small tug and felt it move.
Huh, it isn't locked. I'm going to open it.
Right to find another unlocked door, he threw it open. Junpei didn't know what to make of what he saw.
What?
He simply stood, unable to speak. Seven's eyes opened wide and his mouth gaped. After a few long moments, Seven at last managed to speak.
Hey, what is this place? It's so huge and empty.
A massive room stretched out in front of them, more cavern than a room. Its vastness was oppressive, and it bore down on Seven and Junpei. It was not empty, however. The entire room was filled with lines upon lines of beds. They were simple things, little more than pipe and thin mattresses.
Oh, there are beds everywhere.
Is this a hospital? The harsh scent in the air is reminiscent of antiseptic solution.
I think so. There are shelves in the center of the room with medicine and surgical tools.
Hey, look there. The 4 doors at the end.
3 of them were emblazoned with a large single-digit number made with thick red paint.
The left door says 3. The second door is blank, but the third has a 7. And the rightmost door is 8. There's no doubt. They're numbered doors.
Hey, why is that door between 3 and 7 blank? Does that mean anything?
No point worrying about it right now. Let's see if these will open first.
Yeah, good idea.
The 3 of them threaded their way through the beds toward the back of the room. Upon reaching them, they proceeded to investigate each door in turn, but to no avail.
Yep, locked. Just like I thought.
Naturally. After all, there are rules to the nonary game, and to allow these doors to open easily would violate those rules. Unless we can authenticate ourselves with the red, the numbered doors will...
Whoa, check this out.
Suddenly, Seven spoke up, interrupting Sneak.
Look at the red. There's nothing on it.
Huh?
Don't you remember the red back at the main staircase? If there wasn't anyone in it, it said vacant on the little screen, remember?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
But this one...
There's nothing.
Right? You think it's broken?
Only one way to find out.
No, nothing.
Junpei and the others put their hands on the panel, but nothing happened. The red refused to change. He tried pulling the lever, and still nothing. As they soon discovered, it wasn't only the red on door 8 that seemed to be malfunctioning.
How about the red on door 7? And door 3?
I didn't think all of them would be malfunctioning.
What does it mean?
They've got to be broken. Man, that bastard. I didn't think Zero was the kind of guy who'd screw around with something like this.
Whoa, whoa, Zero's been prepared for everything so far, and you're saying he's gonna make a mistake now?
Well, that's the only thing I can think of. This thing ain't working at all.
While Junpei and Seven talked, Snake busied himself in examining the red. After a time, he lowered his hands and spoke.
It seems as if some of the internal hardware has been removed.
Internal hardware?
That is what I said. Take a look at the underside of this red, if you please.
The bottom?
Junpei obliged and bent over to look at the underside of the device.
Huh, there's a thin slot here. I think it's a slot for something, probably electronic.
The other two reds are the same. Something's been removed from all three of them.
I get it. So the reds aren't working because somebody pulled out their guts.
So I assume.
But why? And who? I mean, it really doesn't make sense.
I have no idea. Why on earth would I know something like that?
Just then, they heard the sound of a door opening.
Oh, what now?
The three of them turned and saw Akane. Oh no, Junpei thought, it's...
June!
He stopped short, surprised to see them, and was very nearly bowled over by the rest of her companions who were coming through the door behind her.
Ace! Santa! Clover! And Lotus!
Guess everyone's here.
Junpei and Seven were, for the moment, at a loss for words.
What are you guys doing?
Why are you...
That's my line?
Perhaps we should exchange information.
After a moment of silence and surprise, everyone suddenly began to talk, desperate to exchange information. They talked about the rooms they'd been through, and how they'd ended up in the same place. Of course, none of it was very useful information, but that hardly mattered. They were happy to simply see one another again. Although the level of cheer varied greatly from person to person, each one of them was wearing some manner of smile. Almost as though they had already forgotten about the death of the ninth man. No, thought Junpei. Perhaps that wasn't it. Perhaps thoughts of his death were what drove them to smile at one another. Not in a morbid or hateful way, no. The ninth man had died. But they were still alive, and there was something to be happy about. A sort of simple, uncomplicated joy, Junpei thought. The joy of being alive. Still alive. Still alive. He felt sorry for the ninth man, but more than anything, Junpei was just happy to be there.
And that's what we know.
With that, Junpei finished his own explanation.
Well, this isn't good. If the red is inactive, we can't keep going.
What about that big hallway? Maybe there's somewhere in there we might be able to go.
No, there's nothing there. The five of us had a quick look. There are plenty more hospital rooms, but nothing else.
You mean all those doors are for hospital rooms?
Yes. There are a number of individual rooms in addition to this large one.
There was a door at the end of the hallway, but it was locked.
It had one of those solar system mark things on it.
It was the Jupiter symbol.
Jupiter.
I wonder what it means.
Confusion seemed to be consensus.
While we're asking what things mean, what's the deal with this room? I mean, I thought this was a cruise ship, but I can't imagine a cruise ship would have a hospital like this.
No one, not even Snake, appeared ready to offer an answer until Seven unexpectedly spoke up.
Well, I figure it's probably a hospital ship. Chances are it's the Gigantic.
The Gigantic?
Junpei looked at Seven, shocked by his knowledge. Both by his knowledge and the apparent identity of the prisoner. It was not the only one.
What is this Gigantic?
Seven nodded to Lotus and began to speak.
The Gigantic. She was a sister ship to the Titanic, built in the early 20th century. Actually, the Titanic had two sister ships, and they looked exactly the same. The Gigantic was said to be one of them. They intended to make her a passenger liner like the Titanic, but World War I began soon after the ship launched. The British Navy took her over and made her a hospital ship. At some point during the war, the Gigantic was damaged by a German mine in the Aegean Sea. She ran aground afterwards, so she didn't end up sunk. What happened to her after that? One theory going around is that a man named Lord Gordain bought her. Seemed like he'd been one of the few to survive the Titanic sinking. That trauma turned him into some kind of obsessive collector of all things related to the Titanic. Soon enough, the guy wanted the Titanic itself, which was impossible, of course. It's stuck at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, but the Gigantic wasn't.
So you're saying this Lord Gordain bought this ship?
Yeah, at least I think I am.
That's impossible. No way we're in some boat that's almost 100 years old.
Pipe down, just pay attention. What, that's it? Well, have you got any proof?
Proof?
Proof that this ship is really the Gigantic.
Well, this ship's got stuff that's like the Titanic and a hospital ship. So, I just figured...
Oh, for goodness. Don't tell me that's your only reason.
No, I've got more.
Like?
Well, I mean,
I really want it to be true. Dylan looked around desperately, doing anything to avoid meeting Lotus's piercing stare. Or her boobs. He scratched his head for a moment, then gave up. Finally, he opened his mouth.
I don't know.
Lotus sighed and shook her head.
I guess your memory isn't back yet, is it?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Then, almost as if to save Seven from further embarrassment, a bell began to ring from far away.
Huh. A bell.
It sounds like the clock in the main stairway.
Junpei counted each chime carefully.
10, 11, 12. Huh, 12.
It's midnight.
Then we've still got 6 hours left, right?
Let's get going. We gotta find the missing parts for the Reds.
What do you mean, find? How on earth do you propose we do that?
We've looked everywhere in this room,
They had been examining the room as they talked.
but we haven't found anything.
Right.
That only leaves one place to look.
One?
Well, not just...
Huh?
Wait. Don't tell me you mean we need to search all of the other rooms.
You have a better idea, Lotus?
Well, you already checked some of them out before you came here, right?
We each checked a single room, so 5 rooms in total.
All right,
Cool.
then. That's 5 rooms we don't have to search. We just have to split up the rest between the 8 of us. If each of us can do 6 rooms apiece, we'll have the other 48 rooms cleared in no time.
There are 48 other rooms?
Lotus did not seem excited at the prospect. Seven fidgeted nervously before responding.
Maybe?
After some discussion, the 8 of them decided which rooms to begin with and in what order they would go. Junpei was chosen to search the rooms on the starboard side, moving from fore to aft.
Alright, so everyone knows which area they're searching?
Yeah.
Yes!
They also determined when they would return to report their findings, so next time the clock sounded the time. When it did, they would meet back in the large central room full of beds.
We'll all meet up when the clock goes off again. How about in that room with all the beds?
Yeah, sounds straightforward enough.
If, during their search, any one of them were to locate the missing components, they were to yell for the others.
I'll shout if I find any of the components we need.
I hope we can find them within the time limit.
If the search failed, they returned to discuss their options later.
If we can't, then we'll just have to come up with another plan.
Right.
Then let's do this.
As details decided, they left to begin searching. Out into the hallway they went, each to their rooms that had been assigned. However, from far away, Junpei heard the bell ring. They did so only once. It was 1 a.m.
It's 1. I better get back to the others.
He jogged throughout the entrance of the large hospital room, to find 6 of the others already there.
Huh?
Ace, Santa, Clover, June, Seven, and Lotus. They had gathered in front of door number 8. Or perhaps to be accurate, they had gathered in front of the red next to door number 8.
What are they doing over there?
Had one of them found a missing piece?
What happened, guys?
It was June who answered him.
Jumpy, look!
She was pointing at the red. He pushed through the others until he stood in front of it. Immediately, he knew what she had meant.
Vacant?
Junpei sighed.
Come on, guys. Who was it? I thought we were supposed to yell if we found it.
Well...
Junpei wondered why she was hesitating. The others looked confused as June, but kept their mouths shut.
What the hell? What is up with you guys?
They all knew something he didn't, and Junpei wasn't about to leave things that way. Finally, Lotus frowned and spoke.
Well, that's the thing. We don't know.
You don't know?
When I got back, it was already like this. There was no one else here. That means I was the first one back, but the missing parts were already back in the red.
What? Let me see.
Junpei looked at the bottom of the red again just to make sure. The slot that had been open on the bottom was not covered with metal.
You're right. It's in there. What about the other two?
They're the same.
Let me take a look.
Junpei quickly examined the other two boxes.
It's just as you said.
Why did you have to check yourself? Why couldn't you trust her? Satisfied that they were also repaired, but still very confused, he returned to the others.
Alright, I just want to be sure here. Nobody has any idea what the hell happened here, right?
Correct.
None.
Ace and June nodded silently. Devin raised his hands as if to say, "Not me," and sent Fitch a shrug. Only Clover lowered her head and did nothing.
Huh. Wait a minute.
That was when he noticed.
Where's Snake?
Junpei swept his eyes across the room for a second time, but Snake was nowhere seen.
Does that mean that he found them?
I've no idea. There's nothing to suggest it, but nothing to suggest he didn't either.
I don't suppose we'll know until we can ask him in person.
Well, whatever he did or didn't do, he's pretty damn late. What the hell is he up to?
Maybe he's lost.
Yeah, well, that seems likely. Dude can't see. I don't know how he gets around in the first place.
Clover raised her head.
No! That's impossible!
Suddenly she was shouting.
Yeah, my brother's blind, but he's got really great hearing. He can get around as well as anyone who can see. So he couldn't get lost. That's impossible!
Clover had started to shake, and the knuckles of her hands had gone white. She spun around, but before she did, Junpei noticed tears welling up in her eyes.
I'm gonna go look for him!
The words were barely out of her mouth when she began to run.
Hey, hold on, Clover. Wait!
Junpei cried out to her, but he was too slow. She kept going, and before anyone else could react, she was gone.
Well, that didn't work. Damn it. What should we do now?
Well, the red is working now.
No! We're not leaving two people behind! We should go look for them!
Oh man, this ain't good.
Oh, yes, what an excellent idea. We just wasted a bunch of time looking for some piece of electronic junk. Now let's waste some more by looking for a couple of idiots.
Then remain here if you feel you must, but there's no time. We've only 5 hours left.
Junpei and the others nodded to one another and took off at a run. Front of the stairs that led to B-Deck decided to split up.
Let's split up.
All right, I'll take this direction.
Then I shall look that way.
I'll be over here.
See you all later.
Soon, only two of them were left. Those two were Junpei and June, who had been a few steps behind the others.
All right, we should go too.
Yes, let's go! But where should we start?
Let's see.
Let's start with the casino.
How about the casino on B-Deck?
Okay, let's go, Jumpy.
The They took off up the stairs at a run. Before they knew it, they were there. So was Lotus. She was leaning against the wall, examining her nails.
Hey, what do you think you're doing?
She glanced up at him unimpressed.
Isn't it obvious? I'm looking for Snake.
I'm just not seeing it.
Really? Maybe you need to look harder.
I don't think that's the problem.
Oh, by the way, I've got a proposal for you two. Care to hear it?
Nah.
No, that's all right. Let's go, June.
Jim picked up June's arm and led her quickly back toward the stairs.
Was that okay? You don't think we should have listened to her?
No, I've got a pretty good idea what her proposal would have been. We should be looking for Snake.
Huh.
Well, where should we go next?
First class cabin.
Look at the first class cabin. It's really close.
They turned around and took up down the hallway to the left. Outside of the first class cabin, they found Clover. He was standing in front of the wall. He was staring at a meaningless point on the wall, her eyes blank. What should Junpei do? Talk to her.
Are you alright?
He did his best to sound friendly, but Clover didn't respond.
Look, I know you're really worried, but...
He could think of no words to say that didn't sound hollow and fake. Junpei hesitated. Clover was so consumed by worry and fear that Junpei feared it would crush her. Her actions didn't surprise him. She had suddenly lost her brother. She seemed to have been very close to him.
Alone.
Her voice was thin and barely audible.
Alone.
Hmm?
Alone. I said leave me alone!
Well, just speak clearly. Suddenly she was screaming.
You're so annoying! Just go away and leave me alone! Just looking at you guys is pissing me off! Go away, okay? Just go somewhere else! Stop bothering me!
Junpei was taken aback. Such anger and hate. June's eyes had gone wide with surprise as well.
Why are you still here? Did you hear me? Huh? Fine, forget it. If you aren't gonna leave, then I'll just...
Alright, let's go, June.
Yeah.
They turned and left Clover. As they did, Junpei glanced back over his shoulder to see Clover wiping tears from her face. Clover driven the misery of their situation, but Junpei told himself that getting depressed would get him nowhere but depressed.
We really need to find Snake, for Clover's sake.
He did his best to push away the misery and depression and force a smile.
So, where do you think we should go next?
The hallway with all the rooms.
Hey, why don't we go back to C-Deck? We can take a look at that hallway with all the rooms.
Okay, let's get going then.
Together they ran down the stairs.
Oh, it's Ace.
Ahead of them, farther down the hallway, they spotted Ace.
Hey, Snake! Where are you? Answer me if you're there!
What should Junpei do? Let's talk to him.
Let's go.
With Jun in tow, Junpei jogged up to Ace. Hearing their footsteps, he turned to greet them.
Ah, hello there. Snake is... Well, that's obvious, isn't it? I assume you haven't found him yet?
Yeah, doesn't seem like you're having any luck either.
I really wonder where he could have gone.
Well, wherever he's disappeared to, we must find him as quickly as we can. For Clover's sake.
Right.
Jun's face looked kind of enraptured.
By the way, do you think Clover and Snake are really siblings?
Why would you say that?
Why would you say that? The question seems somehow odd to Junpei.
Why? Well, it's obvious, isn't it? They don't look alike at all.
Ace looked at him for a moment and then spoke.
Yes, you know, now that you mention it, they don't.
Now that you mention it?
Still, there are a great many siblings who do not look like one another. It certainly isn't rare.
Junpei wasn't sure why, or even if he was seeing what he thought he was, but he could have sworn that Ace's face died when he spoke.
At any rate, we really must find Snake as soon as possible. The clock is ticking. We really can't afford to waste any time. Very well. Let's get back to the search, shall we? You can leave this area to me.
All right. Let's go, Jumpy.
At June's urging, they left. They found themselves back at the stairs, but Junpei's mind was in turmoil.
Something about that was... Nah, I'll think on it later. Like Ace said, finding Snake is our top priority.
Junpei did his best to clear his mind.
Alright, where should we go next? Why don't we go back to the big hospital room?
Okay, let's go then.
He turned and headed back toward the large hospital room.
Hey, wait, that's...
On their way to the large hospital room, Junpei and June noticed Santa standing next to the number 3 door.
Santa?
Junpei paused. What should Junpei do? Talk to him. Junpei and June walked up to Santa.
What are you doing?
What? You can't tell? I'm checking out the red.
Why? Is there something bothering you?
What? It's not bothering you?
Huh?
The guts of this red. Why wouldn't you wonder who the hell put it back in here?
Yeah, that's true. Well, I'm curious too, but...
Who do you think did it?
Santa's eyes narrowed as he looked at June. She shook her head.
I don't know.
Well, what about you, Junpei? Who do you think fixed this thing for us?
Gonna be 0.
I think it was probably 0.
Why?
Isn't that obvious? He's the guy who set this whole thing up.
You don't think that should mean the opposite? Seems to me like that means he didn't do it. I mean, who do you think took that stuff out in the first place?
Probably 0.
Yeah, exactly. And why the hell would he put them back in after he'd taken them out himself? It just doesn't make sense.
Maybe to wait for everybody to be back together before the Reds were active.
Why do all that work?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
So, what happened then? Who put that stuff back in the Reds?
Junpei furrowed his brow.
So, in other words, one of us is the person who fixed the red.
Santa grinned.
Bingo! We have a winner.
But if that's true, then the person who did it doesn't want the rest of us to know that they fixed it.
Yeah.
But why?
No idea. Maybe if they come clean on that, it means we'd find out something else. Something bad.
Something bad?
Dunno. But whatever it is, it's gotta be worth hiding. Of course, it could have something to do with Snake's disappearance.
You think maybe they did something to Snake?
Yeah.
Junpei stared at Santa. There was something about him that made Junpei wary. At first, he'd assumed the older man wasn't terribly clever, but Junpei was beginning to think he would need to re-evaluate that assessment. When Santa spoke again, his voice was quiet.
Look, if you trust anybody in this game, you're gonna lose. You've gotta be careful. The person you trust the most could turn out to be the one who stabs you in the back.
With that depressing suggestion, he turned and quietly walked away.
And that's that, I guess.
Junpei and June looked over one another and smiled awkwardly. Where would they go next? Finished searching. They looked everywhere they could think of, but Snake was nowhere to be found.
Snake hasn't been anywhere we've searched.
Lotus looked around at 6 frustrated faces and spoke.
And we can't keep looking for him. Wherever he is, it's not here. We need to get moving.
Junpei couldn't disagree with what she was saying. Snake seemed to have completely disappeared. There was no point in wasting any more time. The others seemed to be having similar thoughts, but they stayed silent. Finally, Seven spoke.
We don't got a choice. Lotus is right. We're not gonna find Snake. There's a problem, though. We've got to figure out who's gonna go through which door.
Yes, I have a proposal.
She walked back and forth across the floor, her heels clicking against the wood. You have heels with that costume, girl? Finally, she stopped.
Why don't we decide on one person to sacrifice?
Sacrifice?
So we were here, went through the first class cabin, walked through, got to the end. This is what happens if you go the other route. Go through the casino, open the grid, which was probably here, go through, and end up in the big hospital room, which, no, because this is B deck. How do I go back down? How do I go down a deck? Well, whatever.
Well, perhaps that's a bit of a harsh word, but yes. You've all figured it out by now, haven't you? We can't all make it through those doors. If we split into 2 teams of 4 and 3 people respectively, then 3 people will be left behind.
So, everybody together would have, things that add up to 9. Without Snake, their numbers add up to 7. But there's too many of them to all go into the number 7 door. So they would need to split up into 2 groups that go into either the 3 and 7 door, but that means their digital route should be 1, or which means June would be left behind, or they would need to go through the 3 and 8 ones, which means that we're looking at 2 as their digital routes, and I would be left behind, or 2 people adding up to my number. 7 and 8 would be 15, would make it 6, only Ace would be left behind.
If we split into 2 teams of 5 and 2 people respectively, then 2 people will be left behind. But if we split into 2 groups of 3 and leave 1 person out, then only 1 person will be left behind.
You mean 3 people with 2 teams of 4 and 3. Now, Junpei wasn't quite sure that was true.
Wait a minute. 2 people get left behind if we split into 5 and 2, and 1 person is left behind if we split into 3, 3, and 1. I got that part. You can't go through the numbered doors with any less than 3 people. But if we split into 4 and 3, then why do 3 people have to be left behind?
Just run the numbers. Let's say we go through door 7, with who's left over?
That would be 3, 7, 8.
What's the digital route for that?
9.
Plus 7 plus 8.
Exactly. But door 9 isn't here, right? That means 3, 7, 8 won't be going anywhere. That was just an example, of course. There are a lot of different combinations, but the result will always be the same.
As I just explained.
It doesn't matter which 4 it is. The 3 that are left over can't go through any of the doors. Go ahead and calculate it if you have the time. Anyway, that's how it is. Now, if we can get back to my proposal, we only have to sacrifice 1 person if we split into 3, 3, and 1.
When Seven spoke, his voice was strained.
Then you're saying we gotta decide who's gonna stay behind.
Yes, we do. Given our circumstances, it's logically and morally the best solution. If the other 6 are to survive, then 1 person has to sacrifice themselves.
No, that's too cruel!
What's so cruel about it?
To just sacrifice someone like that?
Then what's your plan? Maybe we should sacrifice 2 people instead of just 1.
That's not what I meant! We shouldn't sacrifice anyone!
I told you, that's impossible.
Mathematically, she's right. It's impossible.
Wake up!
Whoa, whoa, calm down, you 2.
Sent a step between Lotus and June.
Look, what Lotus is trying to say is, you should aim to bring the greatest amount of happiness to the greatest amount of people, right?
Exactly. That's how democracy works. And for that reason, I think the only fair way
Democracy
to
really works by making the most number of people the least upset about their choices. It's not a positive system. It's like an eat your vegetable system. It's really.
What do you think?
No! That's terrible!
I'm not asking you. Shut up. What about you, Santa?
Me? Well, I agree, I guess.
All right, that's 1 vote for. Counting mine, that's 2. 7.
I can't say I agree with you, but we don't exactly have a choice. If we don't do something, we're all gonna die.
Oh, glad to see you get it. If I can get 1 more vote, then it's decided. What about you, Clover?
Clover had moved away from the group and was sitting on one of the beds. Her whole body drooped. Junpei didn't know if she'd even heard Lotus's proposal.
Hey, Clover.
Lotus walked over to Clover and gently laid a hand on her shoulder.
Your brother has to be behind one of the numbered doors. We've searched everywhere, but we didn't find him. Doesn't that mean he has to have gone through one of them somehow?
Clover slowly lifted her face.
Let's go look for him together, okay? If we sacrifice one person, then we can go look for him. You agree with me, right?
Okay.
Clover nodded once.
The motion carries.
Lotus spun around and walked towards Junpei.
Now, let's start a vote too.
That won't be necessary.
Ace had barely spoken for Lotus's entire speech, and everyone jumped to Lotus. 6 pairs of eyes turned to look at him. He didn't seem to notice or even care.
I will stay. That should solve our problem, yes?
Ace, what are you saying? No, you can't do that. That won't solve anything.
Jun's voice shook as she looked around desperately for someone to agree with her. Ace simply looked at her.
June, I'm afraid you may have misunderstood me. I said I would stay, but I never said I would sacrifice myself.
Huh?
I trust you. Each and every one of you. I believe you'll come back for me.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. There's optimistic, and then there's just nuts. Those doors only go one way. You go in, you don't come out. If we go through them.
You won't be able to return, correct?
Yeah.
True, but that will not be the case once you've escaped from the ship.
What?
Please, I beg you. Once you've escaped, come back and rescue me. Ideally, within the time limit Zero has given us.
No, that's ridiculous. There's no way we could get back in time.
Finally, Junpei could hold his tongue no longer.
We've only got 5 hours left. We don't even know where the hell we are. How on earth are we gonna find someone to come and rescue you?
Then, perhaps you would prefer to stay instead of me? Or perhaps you would be willing to leave June behind?
Ace's voice was dignified and without a hint of cruelty or malice. Junpei had no rebuttal.
You see, there's no other choice. Then I see we've come to our conclusion. Go on. Don't worry yourselves about me. Go, quickly.
Junpei stood frozen by indecision, unable to move. June bit her lips so hard that Junpei feared she would break her skin. Santa stood against a wall, calm and aloof. Seven tore his beanie from his head and turned it over anxiously in his hands. Only Clover stared at Ace with an expression Junpei was unable to decipher. Lotus's attitude, however, was different from the others.
Good. Let's accept his kind offer then.
She smiled, her eyes bright. Ace answered with a smile of his own.
Good. I think this is the best for me. Perhaps I'll be able to take a nap. It may be my age, but I get tired so easily these days.
As he spoke, Ace lowered himself down to the floor next to one of the beds. From somewhere deep in the ship, Junpei suddenly heard a screeching of metal on metal. It was almost as if the ship were screaming. Would it really hold until the time limit was up? Already, the deck was flooded. In the sudden silence, the only sound was the sad metal wail of the ship. Unsurprisingly, it was Lotus who spoke first.
Well, what are you waiting for? We're wasting time. Why don't we hurry it up?
As if a spell had been broken, the others all began to talk at once.
You're right. We should get going. That's all we can do right now.
7.
Seriously. Honestly, I was getting kind of sick of listening to you guys talk.
You too, Santa?
I have to find my brother.
Wait, all of you. Let's just calm down and think about this. There has to be a way to get everyone out. There has to be. Right, Jumpy? Say something.
Yeah, let's think. There's gotta be another way.
His words sounded hollow and fake.
Fine! Forget about it. I'll figure it out on my own.
He spun around and ran toward Ace. He had slumped down next to the bed when June grabbed his arm and pulled.
Ace! Come on, Ace. Please stand up. You can't give up yet. We just have to sit down together and think about this. We'll figure out a way that we can all get out of here.
Then it happened. Ace fell forward. He slumped over onto the wooden floors, his body folded in half like a boxer out cold.
Ace!
June cried out and dropped to her knees beside him. She put her arm around his neck and did her best to lift him up.
What happened? Ace, say something!
She shook him frantically. His eyes fluttered open.
I'm all right.
His voice was weak and slightly slurred.
How are you all right?
This.
He held out his left arm and slowly opened his hand.
A syringe?
It was a syringe in a small vial. The vial was empty. It had only recently been emptied. The drops clung to the sides. There was a label taped to the side of the container. It read Soparil Beta. Soparil Beta?
Soparil Beta. What does this do? Did you use this?
Yes. It's just anesthetic. I'll be fine.
Anesthetic?
I found it earlier, while we were searching the hospital rooms. I thought it might be useful later. I didn't think I'd be using it on myself.
Why did you do this?
Didn't I tell you? I'd like to take a nap. I really am very tired.
Junpei knew that wasn't why he'd done it. He had injected himself with anesthetic to forestall Junpei and Jun's attempt to bring him along. He couldn't move, there was nothing they could do. He'd injected himself so that they would be forced to leave him behind.
Ace!
Is there some... I just like to sleep a little. Could you?
No, don't, Ace. Don't fall asleep.
You feel warm. So comfortable. I think I'll have a nice dream.
Ace's eyelids drooped further and further, almost as though he were dying.
Ace! Ace!
He shook his shoulder again and again, but this time he didn't respond. Only the gentle rising and falling of his chest told them he was alive. Junpei was relieved to see he was, in fact, still breathing.
Let's get him up on a bed.
Lifted Ace up off the floor and laid him on the bed he'd been leaning against. When Junpei turned around, Lotus gave him a look of pity.
Well, we really don't have a choice now. We can't let his sacrifice go to waste, right?
Like you
Just
wouldn't
you watch
know
me.
that.
You say something?
No, nothing.
It felt wrong, but he had to agree. Then suddenly Santa spoke.
Yeah, but we're not done choosing yet, are we?
Huh?
Well, we haven't decided who's going in what door.
Oh, yes. Yes, that's true.
Enough of this screwing around. Let's decide. You first, Lotus. Which door do you want?
I want door number 8. It's the same number as my bracelet number.
Got it. You're 8. You're next, 7. Which one do you want?
I'll take 7. I can't get along with that old lady.
What? What did you say?
Her face distorted by rage, Lotus took a step forward towards 7. He threw up his hands and made a face like a child caught with his hands in the cookie
Who,
jar.
me? I didn't say nothing.
No, I heard you,
You're gonna get it
7.
next
Come
time.
on. She shouted a glare that would have melted steel, then turned around and stalked off.
Alright, who's next?
Then this gazed move across the 3 people left. Finally, this stopped on Junpei.
Junpei, which door do you want?
At last, Junpei's mind was already made up. Door 3.
I want to go through door number 3.
Nope, you can't.
Huh? Why?
Because it's impossible. If we split ourselves into 3 and 3, then we give up on going through door 3.
Why?
bracelet numbers for the 6 of us are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 2 combinations that can go through door 3 with 3 people. 3, 4, 5, or 6, 7, 8. That's it. Of course, 2 teams can't go through the same door.
I see. That means one team would get left behind.
That's right.
That doesn't happen if we go through door 7 or 8?
No, they're fine. We've got 3 options.
Santa began to explain.
Option A, have 3, 5, and 8 go through door 7, and 4, 6, 7 go through door 8. Option B, 4, 5, and 7 go through 7, and 3, 6, and 8 go through 8. Option C, 3, 6, and 7 go through 7, and 4, 5, and 8 get 8. Those are the only 3 options. That's it. At least if we want to get all 6 of us out of here.
Wait.
That was when Junpei realized. Plan A divides into 2 teams. 3, 5, 8, and 4, 6, 7. Plan B divides into 2 teams. 4, 5, 7, and 3, 6, 8. Plan C divides into 2 teams. 3, 6, 7, and 4, 5, 8.
But that means
There was only one thing they all had in common.
5 and 6 can never be on the same team. If we want all 6 of us to go through a door, then June and I can't go into the same one.
Jun and Junpei had been friends when they were kids. He trusted her more than anyone else on the ship. If he chose 7 or 8, he'd be taken away from her. Was that something he was prepared to do?
Have you mulled it over enough, or do you need more time? Anyway, that's the deal, so think it over. You've got 2 choices, 7 or 8. You can't choose 3. If you choose 3, you're gonna be leaving 3 people behind to die. So what are you gonna do? 7 or 8? Time to choose.
Junpei thought hard. After thinking it over, his conclusion was... take the risk and choose door 3.
Santa, but I still want to go through door 3.
What? That's nuts! You've gotta be crazy! Why the hell are you so obsessed with that door?
I'm just
Junpei paused. He swallowed the words he'd been about to say.
curious about door 3. That's all.
That doesn't explain shit!
I've got a reason. I'd be happy to explain it to you if you'll just come with me.
The dad began walking toward the door. The curiosity likely getting the better of them, the others followed. A few of them looked a little suspicious, but Junpei told himself that it wouldn't matter. He kept walking around and kept silent. Eventually they arrived at the number 3 door. Junpei stopped.
I'm curious about the red. 7, would you mind authenticating for me?
Why?
Please, just do it.
He stared at Junpei for a moment, then grunted and laid his palm heavily on the scanner.
Happy?
Yeah, thanks.
The number 7 has been entered into the red.
Next is June. Please touch the red just like 7 did.
Jumpy, what are you trying to figure out?
Ah, yep. I think
Junpei thought about his answer for a moment.
I might have found another way out.
What?
What?
Really?
Look at them all excited. Just as Junpei had intended.
Now please, June.
Oh, okay.
7 plus 6, 13, 1 plus 3, 4. With those 2 numbers in the red, Junpei had what he wanted. He actually placed his own hand on the scanner and the 3rd asterisk blinked on. 4 plus 5 equals 9.
Alright, the only people who haven't authenticated now are Santa, Clover, and Lotus.
So, what's your point?
You don't get it. Think about it.
Huh?
What's the sum of your number and Clover's?
12.
And what's the digital root of that?
3.
Which is Santa's number. By the way, Lotus, what's the number that's currently in the red?
7 plus 6 plus 5 equals 18. It would be 9, right?
Yes, and what will the digital root be if you add 3 to that?
3. The door's number.
There you go.
Hey, wait a minute. What the hell are you up to?
I'm not up to anything. I'm just waiting.
Waiting for what?
I'm waiting for the balance to shift. Santa, or Lotus and Clover. Once one of you moves, the others won't have a choice. So I'm waiting.
Junpei laid his hand almost casually on the lever.
You son of a bitch! You tricked us! And all that stuff you were going on about is all bullshit!
Bullshit? Huh. I don't think so. Didn't I tell you I'd figured out another way to get out of here? This is it.
Why the hell would you do something like this?
Junpei glanced at June.
Jumpy?
You did this just so you could go through the same door as June. That's it?
Well, yeah, that's about it. Tintin was furious. His face was reddened. Flecks of spit flew from his lips as he spoke. Junpei closed his eyes calmly and then opened them again.
So, who's it going to be? Santa? Or Lotus and Clover?
Shit!
Let's go, Clover.
Lotus leapt forward. She grabbed Clover by the sleeve and ran for Junpei and the door.
Fuck!
Caught by surprise, Santa frisked for a moment, then shot forward like a bullet from a gun. Lotus had a head start, but Santa had the advantage in size and speed. Yeah, the sponge bags. That's a lot of weight. Almost immediately, he passed Lotus and Clover.
No, wait!
Santa did not hesitate.
Ah!
He slammed his hand down on the red.
This is insane! This isn't right!
He glared at Junpei, his chest heaving.
Yeah, well, you may be right.
Junpei's voice was cold, but not without effort.
But
He turned to the right and pulled the lever. With the sound of metal and metal, the door opened. It would only remain so for 9 seconds. There was no time to think.
Go.
Junpei and his 3 reluctant companions jumped into the door, gaping mouth, one after another. No sooner did they enter than an all too familiar noise sounded from their left wrists. The detonators had activated. Junpei looked back only once and saw Lotus and Clover on the other side of the closing door.
No.
They stood still, stopped where they had been where Santa reached the red. The defeat and desperation on their faces tore at Junpei's heart. Then the door closed and they were gone.
You son of a bitch, Junpei! This isn't fair!
Santa rounded on Junpei, lightning cracking in his eyes and his knuckles light.
Do you realize what you just did? You leave them out there, and they can't...
Shut it! That's enough!
It hadn't been Junpei that spoke, but Seven.
We gotta find the dead or none of this is gonna matter!
The clock was ticking. The dead was their only chance at survival. Unless they could find it and deactivate their detonators, the 4 of them would be...
We got less than a minute left! No time for screwing around! Get moving!
Damn it! You and I are not done yet, bastard!
They scattered and began to scour the room. The activation device was nowhere to be found.
Where the hell is it?
Corridors stretched out in 3 directions, but everyone was blocked off by a wall of metal. There was only one way out. One other door.
Over there! It's gotta be behind the door!
Seven ran for the door, a rusty iron thing. His large hands grabbed a hold of the handle and pulled.
damn, it's pitch dark inside.
Can't see a thing!
Junpei stuck his head through the door and looked around the room.
No, wait!
Almost immediately, he spotted the blinking red light on the right wall.
I found it! The dead's right over here!
He stepped into the room.
Ugh. What? The floor's slippery!
He stopped and glanced down at his feet. What was...
Hey! What the hell are you doing?
There's something...
Get over there!
Junpei felt Seven's heavy hand against his back and stumbled across the room. The other 3 piled in behind him. They all felt immediately that something was wrong. Nothing that could be easily identified, only a sense that something terrible shared the room with them. But there was no time to say so.
Quick! Get to the dead!
They all started running. In the dark, it was hard to tell where the wall was. All they could see was a tiny red light blinking at them over and over and over.
There it is!
In quick succession, they all slammed their hands against the scanner panel, which is covered in blood. Seven leaned against the wall, gulping air. As his breathing began to return to normal, he glanced at his left wrist and grunted.
It stopped. It stopped.
Junpei could hear him laughing in the dark, but could barely make out the larger man's face.
I don't think I'll ever get used to doing this.
What the...
The sound of retching came from Santa's direction.
What the hell is this smell? This is vile. I'm gonna puke.
So desperate had they been in their race to the dead that no one had noticed the horrible smell that pervaded the room. It was a terrible, nauseating stench, like burnt and rotten meat. Adrenaline had drowned it out, but now it rolled over at Junpei in waves, forcing itself into his nose with every breath he took.
Oh, you're right. Oh, this is.
Felt his stomach clench and bile rise up in his throat.
Let's get the lights on first. There's a switch over here.
Light that spilled in from the door barely illuminated a small switchblade next to the door. Slowly, with the toll of the last few minutes parenting this gate, Seven walked toward it. Ooh, that sound. He stopped as he got close and extended his fingers toward the switch.
Okay, guys, I'm flipping it on.
There was a soft click as the lights came on. Just as the light turned on, Jin took in a short breath, and the scream echoes through the room. Junpei's breath stopped in his throat. His heart ceased to beat. Time froze. His mind scrambled to make sense of what he saw before him.
What? Hey. Oh, this is...
What was left of the body sat in a sea of blood. Chunks of the flesh torn from the body, set in the blood like tiny islands in a red great sea. A vast ragged hole had been torn in the torso, and what remained of his intestines spilled out of it like fresh spaghetti. Smaller chunks of meat had been splattered against the wall, and became stuck there as they dried. Levels of yellowish fat had left trails like tiny slugs as gravity pulled them down the wall, even as they dragged to it.
Looks like an explosion.
Seven's voice was low and strained.
Just like the knife man. The detonator in his bracelet set off the bomb in his gut.
Oh god. The bone is coming out of his left arm.
It's definitely an open fracture.
It looked as though the explosion had been quite powerful. His legs were both bent in an odd, unnatural way, and his left arm had split open, exposing the painfully white bone of his ulna. His bracelet lay next to him. It seemed to have hit the wall hard enough to have shattered the display, which lay on the ground in pieces.
The face is the worst.
Yeah, you can't even tell who it is.
Half of his head seemed to collapse. The blood coating almost made it look like raw pizza dough covered in tomato sauce. His clothes, too, were covered in blood. Burgundy tie, the white shirt, checked with yellow piping, and the gray slacks.
But the clothes are...
They were all familiar to Junpei.
Is that... Snake?
Dun dun dun! Senta's voice wavered as he spoke, his mouth dry.
Oh my god.
Finally, Junpei spoke.
Why did this happen?
Suddenly, June was screaming, her voice broken. It was an eerie scream full of insanity, and not entirely human.
No!
She shook her head violently and grabbed a fistful of her own hair. Junpei could hear the sound of hair tearing.
Stop! Calm down.
He grabbed for her wrist.
Hey!
But as he did, June leapt up and ran. Toward the exit.
Please! Get me out of here! You have to let me out of here!
She screamed at the door, and her fist slammed against it with a hollow sound. Junpei could see drops of blood on her knuckles.
Why are you doing these horrible things to us? What did we do to deserve this?
June.
She screamed again, a desperate, mindless cry. Her fists flailed against the door.
Get me out of here! Please! Please! Just let me out!
June.
Junpei couldn't watch anymore. He ran to June and wrapped his arm around her, pulling the screaming girl away from the door.
Calm down.
No! Get off of me! Let me go! Let me go!
Please, calm down.
She scrambled for a moment, her legs skittering across the floor, but her resistance didn't last long. As suddenly as her outburst had begun, it was over. The manic energy disappeared, and her body went limp in Junpei's arms. June collapsed toward the floor, and Junpei knelt down with her. He felt drops of something warm and wet. Was she crying? A moment later, she began to sob. Her shoulders shook, and great hot tears rolled down her face like rain.
We're gonna be fine. It's gonna be alright, June. It's going to be okay, Connie.
Her name was a whisper.
I'll be here with you, okay?
She nodded once.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jumpy.
Her trembling voice pulled at Junpei's heart. He stroked her hair gently. Her face was so close. His face was so close to her. The scent of her hair was nostalgic.
Do you feel better?
Yes, but I'd like to stay here for a little while at least. Jumpy's body is so warm.
Chicka chicka bow bow. Several minutes passed before June's tears had dried. Junpei stood up. He bent down, put his arms under June's, and helped her to her feet. He didn't speak. Neither did Seven or Santa. The person was dead. They had died in that room in a terrible way. Junpei knew there was no way he could make himself forget that. There was no way any of them could forget it, but mourning would do no good. They spread out to search the room, but each felt as if their heart was made of lead.
We better get to it.
Alright, we'll find a way out, and that's when we'll save and quit and pick this up later this week. This letter's written in blood. LR. Do you think that might be some sort of dying message from Snake? No, that's impossible. You saw the body. You aren't doing anything after something like that happens to you. And this. The way the blood's dry, I tell you it's real old. Whoever's blood this is, it ain't Snake's. Then you're saying this blood was put here a long time ago? Yeah. Junpei reached for the broom, and as he grabbed it, he heard a soft voice from behind him. It was June.
The rabbit hutch.
Huh?
He turned around. June still looked sadly pale, but there was a smile on her face.
Oh, you just reminded me of it. The rabbit hutch, I mean.
How did I remind you of something like that?
Jumpy and the broom. You're always playing around with the broom in front of the rabbit hutch.
I was.
Don't you remember?
Junpei stared at the broom in his hand.
You mean, you don't remember that summer either?
She looked very sad. He shook his head.
Of course I remember. How could I forget something like that? It was terrible.
Oh god, I didn't want to flash back. Okay. We were in the 6th grade. Junpei and June had been assigned to take care of the classroom pets, the rabbits. Their chief duty was to clean the hutches every morning. On the final day of school before summer vacation began, Junpei overslept. He rushed to school and found June standing in front of the rabbit hutches. No sooner had Junpei arrived than June began to cry. He had no idea why until he looked behind her into the rabbit hutch. The first thing he saw was blood. The hutch was filled with the dead bodies of the rabbits. Even after their teachers and friends came to see what the commotion was, June couldn't stop crying.
I just kept crying and crying until you came over. You held my hand, and you looked very serious, and you said, "Don't cry. I'm gonna catch the person who did this." After you told me that, I finally stopped crying.
Well, the real fun started after you quit crying. You told me we were gonna catch the killer together.
June smiled and a little of the flush of life returned to her cheeks.
Then we decided that we'd ambush them.
Yeah, I remember.
The school also kept roosters and guinea pigs. Junpei and June had decided the murderer would likely return to finish up the rest of the animals. They would ambush the killer at night. Junpei and June hid behind the hutch at dusk and waited. It was a warm summer night. The quiet sound of crickets whispered through the air. As the sun went down, the stars began to wink at them from the sky. And June's, Akane Kuroshiki's face. That night was something Junpei knew he would never forget as long as he lived.
But the murderer never showed up. We waited for them all summer vacation, and they never showed up.
Yeah, but the animals didn't get attacked either. I think all that work amounted to something, you know?
It felt the same way, but it was good to hear her say
Although,
it.
you know, if you think about it, we were probably taking on a lot more than we could handle.
What do you mean?
He looked up at him, confused.
Well, come on, we were just kids. If whoever killed the rabbits had actually showed up, they probably would have had a knife or something. I mean, you must have been pretty worried, right?
I wasn't worried because you were there with me.
He blushed furiously.
Well, you know, no one else wanted to take care of the animals.
Clearly embarrassed, she tried desperately to change the subject.
I was the only one who asked to do it at first.
Yeah, well, boys don't really want to bother with taking care of animals, you know?
Well, yeah, but you asked to do it after I did, didn't you?
If it wasn't the rabbits, they were gonna make me do something else. You know how that school was.
Yeah, it's silly not because you said you would do it and I had a major crush on you. Totally not.
I figured it'd be better if I was working with somebody who wasn't too much of a loudmouth, right? Somebody who wasn't gonna tell on me if I felt like blowing it off.
Really? That's why you volunteered?
Yeah, it is.
He nodded quickly and much too earnestly, and then quickly looked away at something very important.
Really?
Of course.
It hadn't been the reason, of course. He had asked to take care of the rabbits so that he could be near June. But it had been so long ago, he couldn't bring himself to tell her how he felt back then. It would be embarrassing. He took a quick breath to clear his head, tossed the broom up, and then snatched it out of the air.
Well, we don't really have time to be walking down memory lane like this, you know? We've got to figure out a way out of this room. Otherwise...
Yes. I'm gonna look over there.
June nodded currently, then turned and walked away.
I should get back to it myself. Ah! That's right. The pool of blood.
Junpei turned around and looked at the room. At Snake's body. Chunks of flesh and organs still lay on the floor.
Going on and on about old times right next to a corpse? What were we doing? Well, maybe it was because we're in this mess.
Despite such a situation, or perhaps because of it, the mind turned to the farthest thing from death that it could find. Still, Junpei couldn't help but feel a twinge of guilt, wanting so desperately to live when Snake lay dead before him.
I have to survive, no matter the cost. I need to make sure she gets out too.
As he stared at the clumps of blackened flesh, all Junpei could think of was how much he wanted it. Hey, where is there something on the toilet paper? What if I wrap toilet paper around the broom? Also, you wrap toilet paper around the broom, huh? Looks like the symbol's on it perfectly. It says 634 plus. Stack of toilet paper. A wooden box. There's something in here. Wait, don't really think we're supposed to use the luminol here, do you? Yes, it does seem kind of weird to use it here, but maybe I should try it just in case. Okay, I've sprayed the luminol on the wall. What's next? Just like you thought, Junpei. There's some more letters showing up after LLR. See? LLR. LRL. So left, left, right, left, right, left. Right. Oh, perfect. Some pipes. Why does this one on the right look different from the others, I wonder? Left. Left. Right. Left. Right. Left. Well, it did sound the wall. I wonder if it actually did anything. There's a piece of paper attached to this big pipe with a wire. Notice, drainage valve operation. Please do not flush the water in these pipes. Doing so may cause the drain to overflow. Hey, this drain's acting up! What the hell did you do? I just messed with the valves a little. Nothing big. Jumpy, the card is floating. Looks like the water flowed the card up out of the drain. Must be water flowing through the pipe on right now. On the right, there's water pouring out of the drain. And we got our Mercury card. Nice. It's a water tank for a toilet. Don't know why they figure out everybody else thinks it's clever too. Huh? I mean, I know peace, but what's OC? Organized crime. What is that, some kind of police slang? Huh? Oh, Probably. Huh? Hey, what to say? What's the look all set now? That's not really important right now, guys. Let's just check it out, alright? Well, he's not wasting any time. There's some toilet paper on the shelf. Going in the toilet. If there would be. Gross. There would be something in the tank, you know? Let's open that shit up. Ooh, there's indeed a card. Tank where the red card was. Nothing here now. Really check all 3 toilets, you know? Nothing unusual there. The thermometer. Can you get it off? No, it's screwed on the wall.
Hey, Junpei, you know why thermometers only go up to 107 degrees Fahrenheit?
No, I can't say I ever thought about that.
At 107 degrees, the cells in the human body start to die, and the organs begin to shut down. The proteins in your cells start to harden. It's like when you hard-boil an egg. Even if you cool it down afterwards, it won't go back to being a raw egg. In other words, it's dead. That's why thermometers don't go past 107. There's no point.
Oh yeah?
But it's pretty rare for a fever to get that high. Even viruses and stuff don't usually drive the body temperature up to 107. Of course, there are other external things that could.
Like what?
Well, let's see. Something like getting locked in a sauna.
Did I miss any good commentary? No, okay.
Or getting thrown into an incinerator and burnt to death.
Yeah, I guess that would get a little hotter than 107 degrees Fahrenheit.
Junpei gave a short, barking laugh. A moment later, the screw fell off. With a small tug, Junpei pulled the thermometer from the wall.
All right, I got it!
He looked up and saw Santa glaring at the blank section of the wall.
Huh? What's up?
Nothing. Forget about it.
Santa spun around and walked off away from Junpei.
What was that all about?
As Junpei watched him go, he didn't look angry. He looked very, very sad. Yeah, if I can get this hot water on the thermometer, then maybe. Alright, thermometer, let's get this party started. Yep, looks like it's doing the trick. Here goes the gauge, and now it's the open mark. Oh, it opened. What's this? Looks like there's a piece of paper in here. 957 plus. Oh, actually, I should probably get my bucket. Hey, Seven, could you turn on the shower? I'm gonna put the bucket under the head. Oh, okay, sure thing. Okay, now we can put that in this tank that had no water. Alright, so just pour the hot water into this tank, and looks like you filled it. Now you should be able to flush it, right? Probably a handle somewhere on the tank that you can pull. You think so? Serious? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Some pipes are connected to the tank on the toilet. There's something that looks like tar inside the toilet bowl. If I flush the hot water from the bucket, I should clean it up. What? How? Oh, on the right side of the... Alright, let's flush the hot water. Well, there it goes, just like the toilet should work. The stuff washed off. Looks like the writing was numbered. See it? 1 and 5? What is this? You got me. Just look like numbers. Alright, so 957, 15634. 634 plus 985 plus 634, 185, 957. 634 plus 185 plus 537. Nope. God damn it, I don't. What am I doing? This is what I want. No. This is what I want to do. No. Ah! I'm getting things mixed up. No. No. How do... Oh, Y is how I get it. So, 957 and 634. 957 plus 634 plus 185. 1776. Alright, let's on, Jumpy. Nothing happens when I press the buttons. I guess I have to get a red and blue light to turn on first. Oh, I guess that's why you need the blue key card too. Great job, Jumpy. Both the lights are on now. You just need to put in the password. Alright. Enter and clear, yep. 1776, enter. Alright, we did it. So let me go ahead and save. That's gonna do it for today. So one thing I want to show you is that we do have sort of a flowchart of things that happen. To keep in mind for the future, essentially. But for now, as you can see, it's just getting you to jump to certain level parts. Specifically the ones where you have to pick which doors to go through, and escape rooms. And ultimately, we need to get to the end of all these branches to see all the endings. So, yeah, I'm still pretty excited about playing through this game. I think streaming it is doable and good, which makes me excited at the thought of being able to stream something like Shibuya Scramble for 2.8 at some point. But for now, we're going to focus on finishing this one as our bonus game. So I might be back with this one on Thursday, and maybe sometime on Friday or Saturday. I do have a weekend with less engagements than usual when I can maybe find some time to do some other streams. So you can find me at twitch.tv/gameswithnick. Nick spelled N-I-C, as you can see on the screen. I'll be back tomorrow afternoon/evening Eastern with some Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. Wednesday with some more The Longest Journey, and then Thursday with probably some more 999. All my VODs are live on youtube.com/gameswithnick. Feel free to like, subscribe, leave comments. I appreciate you taking the time to watch my stuff. I enjoy engaging with my audience, so feel free to leave comments. Let me know what you think. And I will see you tomorrow afternoon. So take care.